Everyone, Tim Stoddard here, and in today's video, I am going to show you my favorite way, and in my opinion, the best way to generate a steady influx of leads and clients for your Google business agency. Let's dive right in. As always, we have our trusty outline. If you would like a copy of this outline, you can make a copy in the description of this YouTube video. And so today, I'm going to break down what is, in my view, the best strategy for getting clients for your Google business agency. Now, notice, I'm not going to say the easiest strategy because the easiest strategy is just to walk down the street, knock on doors of local businesses, and pitch them, and then talk to enough people until eventually you can promote your business to the point where people hire you, people trust you, and then your name spreads around the community. This is a little bit different. This is digital, and it's the best way because it's going to increase the value of your asset. So let's dig a little deeper. The best way to get clients is by starting a local newsletter. So people that follow me know that I love local media. It's very profitable. People are really into it. You can establish like a very loyal following because let's just call it what it is. Facebook has killed newspapers, but newsletters are like kind of replacing Facebook, which replaced newspapers because it's just a more interactive approach for people to be involved in their community, to know what's going on with events and with other businesses and other people. So there's a newsletter is just a great way to build authority in your city, create a secondary stream of income, and develop an asset that increases the value of your company should you ever decide to sell it. So this is very important, and we're gonna get into this idea in a little bit. So let's talk about it. If you own a local newsletter, you also basically have a second business. This is so important to understand because although you are creating two businesses, which I don't usually advocate people do, I advocate you focus on one. Really, what you're doing is you're creating like a marketing channel for your main business, which is your Google business agency. And then the marketing channel itself becomes a secondary asset that you can sell advertising against, you can sell webinars for, you can, I don't know, promote local events, you can do all types of stuff with it. So I like this because it doesn't necessarily take away your focus from what is the agency, which is going to be your main business, but it just adds value to the whole entire thing. Additionally, if you are creating a newsletter for your city, your town, your neighborhood, you're establishing yourself as an authority in your neighborhood. And so people are just going to like get to know you simply because they appreciate you, they appreciate the value that you give to them, the time that you put into the newsletter, and through that, it's going to make it even easier for you to land deals. Lastly, I harped on this point a little bit earlier, but it's so freaking important. Agencies, for all of their advantages, which I talk about a lot, they don't cost a lot of money to start. They don't cost any money, really. They're very cash flow positive. They got great cash flow. There's a lot of good reasons to start an agency. One of the reasons not to start an agency is because they're difficult to scale and they're very difficult to sell. If you want to make an exit, the multiple that you're going to get on your agency is usually very low because I mean, what is a marketing agency really? It's just a group of clients. So you're just selling your clients, but there's nothing tangible for another business to acquire if they buy your agency. However, if your agency also owns a newsletter and the newsletter itself serves two functions, it's a revenue and a profit driver, and it's a marketing channel for the agency itself. Well, you've just like increased the value of your agency from 2 to 3x to maybe 7 to 8x. And so if you have this extra asset, it makes your agency something that is attractive to maybe bigger agencies, maybe, I don't know, like a private equity firm, just an entrepreneur that wants to acquire your company. It makes it a lot more attractive because now your agency is more than just a group of customers. It's like an actual asset that has leverage and provides value. So how does this work? Well, it's very simple. Your first step is just to create a newsletter, start creating content, and get some subscribers. A local newsletter is, in my view, a great way to format it is with like a main story of the week, highlight a local business owner, highlight a group of events over the weekend. This is really, really popular. highlight maybe specials like happy hour specials and other promotions that are going on. You basically just use your newsletter as a way to promote other people in your city. In doing so, people who live in the city, for instance, I live in Denver. So let's just say I made like denverweekly.com and I wrote a weekend newsletter. I published it every Friday and it had a main story, a list of businesses, maybe some real estate listings, right? Some local events, some promotion codes for the weekend, whatever it is. In addition, you create a call to action at the bottom of every single newsletter that promotes your GMB agency, your Google business agency. And so now simply by promoting to the people in your community, in your local demographic, you've established yourself as somebody that knows business, knows marketing, and knows the competitive landscape to put your customers ahead. So this is great because like there's very little in terms of conflict of interest. You can just have one business in every industry. For instance, you can have like a carpet store, a painter, an epoxy flooring, a coffee company, right? So you are focused on one location, sure, but you're focused on a multitude of industries, like almost infinite industries, right? It's just the customers that you can get and the leads that you can acquire. Those are the people that you can work with. And in addition, it's very, very profitable because there's only one thing that you're doing, right? So you can create a system to replicate your process over and over and over again to make it so that you need less to generate more. And the more you generate, the more money you make, the more you can charge, the more profits you have, and the less your expenses are. It's such a simple model. Seriously, it's so ridiculously simple and it's so freaking effective. You can easily generate $1 to $2 million a year from just doing these two things. Just this simple business model with, I'll say 40%, maybe 50%, but we'll say 40% margin. So that's $800,000 a year in your pocket. Like you're a one percenter with this simple model. All right, up next, let's look at some examples so you can see what this looks like in real time. First, this is the Austin Business Review. This is my friend Ethan Brooks, and this is a weekly newsletter basically about the business of Austin, Texas. So there's some great things going on here. Nothing lines up quite perfectly, right? One of the things that Ethan doesn't do, in my view, is have a business to promote through his newsletter. He does a great job of creating content, right? So there's an introduction. He's got a list of upcoming events. He has an RSVP, so he's probably getting paid to promote this particular event of April 22nd. If you're so keen, okay, so it's like a book, an open forum of a virtual discussion of Hamilton Mann's new book called Centered AI Development, Artificial Integrity, right? So there we go. And then here's a button for the event. Maybe these are ads right here. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I just don't think you need to worry about monetizing the newsletter through ads. I think if Ethan created a real simple Google business agency that specialized in serving the Austin community, Austin is definitely one of the top 20 biggest cities in the country. There's a ton of entrepreneurship there. There's a ton of local business there. He could easily generate 1 to 2 clients a month from this. So if I were Ethan, I would have a big CTA at the end of his newsletter, every issue that promotes his business. I would do it basically exactly like I do it. I'll even show you. So this is my personal newsletter. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already subscribed. Mine's on Substack. Ethan's is on Beehive. And at the end of every single issue, I have my CTA. And this is all I do. And I generate 2 to 5 sales a day from this simple CTA. So I would do the same thing here. So let's look at another edition. So this is Nathan Barry's newsletter, and he's partnered with Carly. I forget Carly's last name. I'll find it. I'll put her name in the description. But this is almost exactly the same. Whereas instead of Austin, Texas, it's Boise, Idaho. And again, like Carly just has a knack for advertising and media. She really understands it. And so that's her model. They promote events and they promote advertising. But again, I would do the same exact thing. So, you can see there's local events in Boise, Idaho. They do a really great job of creating media for it. But I would put at the end of every single issue a CTA for a Google business agency that serves all the local businesses in Boise, Idaho. I mean, let's check this, right? Population of Boise, Idaho. There's 235,000 people in Boise. So we'll say how many local businesses in Boise, Idaho? Okay, there's 11,000 local businesses. So you're telling me there's not 30 businesses here that you can get as clients, and let's just be conservative. Let's say 1,500 a month, right? So 30 times 1,500. What is that? So that's $45,000 a month, right? So we'll do times 12. Okay, so you're doing a $500,000 a year from pretty low dollar amounts. Like I don't take on a Google business client that isn't at least 2,500. So let's call it 2,500, 30 clients, and you're at $750,000, or excuse me, you're at $75,000 a month, which is almost $1 million a year. So it's $900,000 a year. Do this 40% margin. So we'll do times zero point 0.4. So you're profiting $360,000 a year. Pretty great if you ask me. And lastly, I have this example here. Newsletter operator. This isn't a local newsletter, but the model is more along the lines of what I'm talking about. So newsletter operator is a newsletter written by Matt McGarry. I don't know him that well. He came on my podcast a couple of times. He's doing a great job. And it's a little bit meta because he has a newsletter about newsletters, which he promotes his newsletter to, or excuse me, which he promotes his agency to grow newsletters. So his whole entire space is newsletters. Instead of a city, instead of like a local media site, his specialty, his niche, his authority is in newsletters. He takes it even a step further because in this issue, he's promoting, I believe, is a webinar. I think I looked at this earlier. He's promoting a webinar. Man, it's a long newsletter. Can't believe people. That's a lot. Yeah. So here you go. He. This is definitely a lead generation. So a free guide on how to grow your newsletter to 1,000 plus subscribers in 30 days. People fill this out, and I'm sure he uses this as a lead gen for his agency, which you saw at the top right here, called Grow Letter. I did a video very similar to this about Tricycle Day and how he uses his newsletter to get clients. I'll put the link up here or up here, whichever corner it's going to be in. And you can check that out. But okay, so just imagine if Newsletter Operator was a local newsletter. Imagine if this was the Austin Business Review. And up on the navigation bar, there was a link to Ethan's agency, and Ethan's agency was just a real simple one-page website that promoted her services. We'll call it, Austin Google Business Agency.com. He would be generating at least 1 to 2 clients a month from his newsletter. It's so jam-packed with information, and it's all the information is about the local businesses, right? It's only a natural progression on what to do next. So I would really advocate anybody who's watching this to try to stay away from turning your newsletter into like a media company where you're selling advertisements, and just turn it into a promotion tool where you are booking deals for the agency itself. And then secondarily, you can create revenue through advertising, because why not? It's like the simplest business model that I have discovered, and it's so effective. It's so effective. I'm like repeating myself now, but just think about it. You have established yourself as a business authority in a certain city that promotes businesses within that city, right? So the entire thing just ratchets on itself. The more subscribers you get, the more leads you get, the more leads you get, the more sales you get, the more sales you get, the more you've established yourself in the community, which can lead to more subscribers, and on and on and on and on we go until you basically just become the marketing agency for the entire city. And that within itself is at least $1 million business. If you really stick with it over the course of 3, 5, 10 years, it's a multi-million-dollar business. It's a simple model. It's a great lifestyle. It's not complicated. You can build a team, build systems, build processes, try your best to scale it. And the scalability, like I said, comes from the newsletter itself, because that's an additional asset that just adds to the multiple of the business when the day comes that you try to sell it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any more questions, leave a comment. I answer every comment. I respond to every comment. Please smash that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you on the next one.